Welcome to the Body Love Revolution online summit, building a better relationship with your body. Today, I have got Peta-Lea, and I'm absolutely delighted to have her here. I'm going to share a little bit how Peta-Lea helps people and what she does in the world. Peta-Lea Brenda is a women's empowerment mindset and energetics mentor and the visionary founder of the Women Empire Project, Australia's #1 women's empowerment event designed to ignite the potential within every woman. Alongside this event, she's the host of the Women Empire Project podcast. Through her coaching, speaking, and events, Peta-Lea helps women break through self-limiting beliefs, reconnect with their true power, and create a life that aligns with their highest vision. Her work blends mindset mastery, spiritual alignment, and energetic healing to help women embody confidence, set strong boundaries, and cultivate unshakable self-belief. She is deeply passionate about self-care, manifestation, and guiding women to prioritize themselves unapologetically. Peta-Lea believes that when a woman has a clear vision, trusts her inner wisdom, and embodies her highest energy, she becomes unstoppable in achieving her dreams. Welcome, welcome, friend. So happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much, Emma. I am so grateful to be here.
Oh, now I could say 1,000 more things about you, but you really are an incredible woman who lights up the room. I had the beautiful pleasure of joining one of your live events last year, and it was nothing short of phenomenal. The women that you pulled together in that group, the speakers and just the women in the room, was just such a wonderful experience. I met some lovely women there. And in actual fact, before we hit record, I didn't even tell you this. In actual fact, from you gathering that group of women, I've had coffee with one of the beautiful, the gorgeous artist, Shazzy. We
Yes.
caught up. Elle McBride, our havening technique, one of your incredible speakers, she's also on the summit, and I've gone and haven't had a havening experience. So she's another interview everyone will really, really enjoy. So that incredible group of women. Oh, and also beautiful Tammy, the other artist, you
Yeah.
pulled together one amazing group of women, and to walk away from an event and still be in contact with women, such a gift. And you and I, of course.
Yes, I love it. That's my favorite part of holding events. And this happens so much. People go off and they keep connected. And I've always believed that any event we go to, anything we go to, and there's other women, we're all meant to be in that room. And I get chills when I speak about it because we're meant to be there for each other. Like
Oh,
as souls, we're meant to meet, we're meant to go and have coffee and meet for havening. And it's just incredible. So that just makes me so happy.
yes, I forgot to share that with you, but that was you being brave enough to create an event, bring people together, and incredible women, and that connection. So thank you, my love.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. There's actually so many stories about that, like that, from that event of people going off and staying connected and messaging. So, yeah, amazing, amazing.
Oh, divine appointments all
Yes,
happened that day.
yes.
Brilliant. That's the power of coming together as women, women's circles, women events. If you have the opportunity, go, speaking to whoever's listening to this now, if you have the opportunity to go, say yes.
Absolutely.
I'm
And
just,
one of my mentors says if you can't find a women's circle, it means you need to create it. So if you can't find one that suits you, create your own because there are women out there like you who would benefit from your vision of what a women's circle should be like.
great tip. Yeah,
Mm,
create
yeah.
it. Now, my darling, today, the theme of our Body Love Revolution online summit, building a better relationship with your body. I know that you have a body story. Every single woman does. But from your perspective, because there's been a lot of healing, and of course, you are a Reiki master and you have lots of bows to your string to your bows. Is that the feathers to your cap? And I know that you have done a lot of deep work. I would love for you to share with our ladies your body story and the path to healing and what has transpired for you in so many wonderful ways, but no doubt been also challenging.
Oh, absolutely. So, my body story started very young. I say that I woke up at 9 with double D chest. So, I don't ever remember being flat chested. It was like 8, 9 years old, flat, straight into double D's. My year six formal, I had big boobs. So, it started around primary school, my story around shame, and it always and it is still now through all the healing around my breasts. So I remember that where it first ever started was I was in sex education class in year 5, and they were talking around periods and, passing around the banana with the condom on and the pair of undies with a pad in it. And they were talking about puberty, and the lady said, and I vividly remember this like it was yesterday. The lady said, "You're going through puberty, you'll get your period if you have boobs." And the entire class looked at me, instant shame. Instant shame. Also, when I was that age, 9, 10, 11, I was actually a huge tomboy. I love sports. I played every sports imaginable. So having big boobs at that age, I never actually wore a bra. It was crop tops. I lived in crop tops, which aren't supportive. And as my breasts grew and grew and grew at a rapid rate, like I am 35 in a couple of weeks. And my breast size is a size J when I go to the bra fitting. Like it's big. Like when you go through the alphabet and get to J, like it's big. So my boobs have always grown at a rapid rate. And, gravity. I wasn't wearing anything supportive. As I sort of started to get to like 11, 12, my breasts had already started to drop. And I didn't actually have any education around breasts and bras. And I don't think it was something my mum even thought to had. I left home. My mum separated from my dad when I was 10. By 11, I had chosen to leave my mum and go and live with my dad. And I wasn't even living with my dad. Lived with my cousin for a bit, and then I moved to Canberra, and I was living by myself 7 days a fortnight by the age of 12. Yeah, so I didn't have that education around wearing a bra, and I suppose what that does for you. And as my breast kept growing and growing, I remember I was 12 years old. I lived in Canberra, and I had this really great group of friends. For the first time since my separation with mum and dad and moving everywhere and hating where mum moved, I'd finally found this group of friends, my bestest friends ever. Um, and felt really comfortable in telling them around my body. And I remember telling them at 12 that my breasts were saggy because that's where they had gotten from 9 to 12. That's where they had gotten. And when I look back now, it was like a tiny drop, nothing to where they are now. But I remember saying they were saggy. Anyway, in a couple of weeks later after that moment, I was hanging with my friends, and we had like a big group of us. So there was boys in this group and girls. And I remember my breasts and the sagginess of my breasts becoming the topic of the conversation. And I was humiliated, I was embarrassed, I was shamed because it wasn't like they were making it. At this stage, I didn't even know what breasts were meant to look like. Like, obviously, I'd seen my mum naked, but I was 12. I wasn't out there seeing women with no tops on. So I had no idea. But it was in that moment that I realized that saggy boobs were not the norm. And that just from that moment on created this consciousness around my boobs and knowing that my boobs are not normal.
Mm.
So that really started the whole, moving through my teens. I remember when I would get a boyfriend, and I was in a long-term relationship from quite young, 14. I remember it took me a very long time to take my top off because even by 14, they were, even more down. By that stage, I was wearing bras, but I think because of the rapid growth, my breast damage was sort of done from such a young age. Um, And then obviously throughout that 5-year relationship, having, little breakups here and there and being, a flirtatious 16-year-old girl and meeting other boys here and there, I would always keep my top on. I would always, even like, if it went to kissing, or it was just always, this was an area that no one saw. Uh, Not much. I don't really remember such consciousness around doing anything about it at that young age, because I was still so young growing up. My rest of my body, I was always fine. I remember being a teenage girl and looking in the mirror, sucking my stomach in, but I've always loved my body whilst I'm by myself, if that makes sense. Like even now, I've got, stretch marks and 4 kids and the sack. I still love my body, but there's still that shame that's been so etched into my soul around my breasts. And I ended up getting with he was my husband for 15 years, but when we got together, I remember it took me 7 months to stand in front of him without a top. So every shower, I would shower like this. If I like anything, I just cover them and hold them until I felt safe enough in his presence to bear witness. And like, not even an issue. And it wasn't even an issue, never has been. I've now had 4 kids, breastfed them. Let me tell you, they're lower than they've ever been before. But there's still that shame around them. And I've worked really hard in trying to not make it a thing. But as I've grown up and, social media and magazines, movies, everything, the average, and I do this very like, the average woman's breasts are perky or like a little bit perky. And you don't ever see women's breasts fully like dropped. Like it's very rare. I have not seen any
Mm.
until I started doing my work with the 4 Seasons journey and the School of Shamanic Womancraft and going back to the Paleolithic times with the goddess. Now, the goddess breasts are an absolute representation of my breasts. But we don't see the goddess because the goddess was taken away. We see these models who are gorgeous, but their breasts are small and perky and like right up here. And I just want to share something on that. I think I'll always have healing to do with my breast. It's something that it is a problem. Even I worked my way up to take part in a naked women's circle, which took everything, and I actually didn't choose it. I I say the universe lured me in. And this only happened last year.
Mm.
A really well-known photographer who holds naked women's circles and she photo shoots them, was doing a photo shoot for Tree of Life. Now, Tree of Life is my all-time favorite clothes shop.
Yes.
And the photo shoot, you paid for the photo shoot and the experience, but you got a beautiful garment for free in all the photos. So to me, it was like a win-win. But after the Tree of Life photo shoot, she was going in to do a naked women's shoot. I
Right.
wasn't taking part in that. And I told her, I'm not comfortable. I'm coming for the Tree of Life. I'm going after. And I got there and there was 10 women, and we all did our Tree of Life shoot in the forest down at Currumbin Valley, and it was stunning. The images I'll hold and cherish forever. But after that, and it was all complete strangers, none of us had known anyone. And after that, she was going off and to do the naked shoot in the 12-meter depth of tree roots. Absolutely extraordinary. And she said, "Are you coming?" And it was actually a Scorpio full moon, which I find very fascinating, the timing,
Oh,
because Scorpio is all around that transformation.
yeah. And
And
sensuality.
yes, yeah,
And
and like going to the depths and pulling yourself out. Now, I'm a Scorpio moon, so my entire emotions are Scorpio, and I'm also conjunct Pluto. So my whole life is all around the transformation. And there was this part of me that was like, "You're going." And I walked over and it was on sunset, but it was still daylight. It was still very much daylight. And every single person got naked. And I took off my dress and my bra and my underwear. and I stood bare in front of people for the first time in my life. Besides my husband and besides my ex-partner from teenage years, no one else has ever seen me naked. Even giving birth to 4 of my children, I still wore a crop top, a very non-supportive crop top, but I never allowed myself to bare naked. Even through labor, I was conscious of my breasts. So to get to this point of taking off my clothes in front of 12 strangers, I do believe the stranger
Yeah.
helped, but I stood there and all of these women, their bodies were very beautiful, much smaller bodies, much smaller boobs. But what I noticed, and this is something that I love that I have this experience now to go and share with women, is that the women whose breasts, and I'm going to say it, I would love small, perky breasts because I've never had that. They were having so many issues around their body. And in that moment, I was like, it doesn't matter who we are and what we look like. There's always going to be that level of our body isn't good enough because we allow ourselves to think that way. And it was almost exactly what I needed to have a woman whose body was absolutely gorgeous and her breasts were beautiful, hating on herself.
Oh.
And I really needed that moment because it gave me extra compassion for myself. I'm already someone who has compassion for herself and her body, but this gave it a deeper level. And there was this level of sadness then to every woman out there because we are picking on our bodies, and for what? Like, this is the vessel that we've got. And, my shame and my guilt around my breasts is now part of my story, is now part of how I will help women move through because I have been there, I have felt it. The experience was very healing. We were in tree roots, like hundreds of tree roots under the earth, the way the rock falls, tangled in naked. We were all in the water naked. We were, hands on each other naked. And we were getting photographed. Everything was photographed. And what I love about this story is that before I even took part in the Tree of Life shoot, I had to sign waivers that said that any image taken from that photographer was able to go wherever she wanted. So social media, internet, anywhere. So essentially, as we're all naked, well, as I'm naked, because it was such a big deal for me, and we're in the water and we're doing like tiger screams to the camera completely naked, I signed a waiver to say that my images could be used anywhere in the world. So it was such a huge step for me, and I will never forget. By this stage, it was dark. Sun had set, and there was a fire. We lit a fire, and there's 10 to 12 naked women around a fire, just like screaming our dark feminine and unleashing it. And we were sort of guided through this practice of like scream and let go any hurt, any shame, any guilt. And I stood there in the dark, naked, surrounded by women, screaming out my shame and my guilt that I have allowed myself to carry and hold. And I get shivers. My whole body is tingling from top to bottom right now. But I stood there naked and in the flames and other women's energy, and I have never felt so empowered, so free, so liberated in my entire life. And it will go down as one of the most proudest moments of myself, because from not allowing anyone to see my body except for my long-term relationship and then my husband, to then going to a space where I'm just bare naked in front of a photographer, signed a waiver for it to go wherever it wants to go. And then the fact that I was able to do that was a huge healing piece for me.
Oh, you don't do things by half, do you, darling?
No, I don't. I definitely don't. And what made this more special is the 12-month long journey with the School of Shamanic Womancraft and the 4 Seasons journey. over 12 months, these women that I journeyed with became my sisters, my soul sisters. We were all very close. Some of them are still my best friends right now, but they went swimming in the creek naked every time we'd go away. I never was able to do that. I felt so much shame and guilt around getting naked and going swimming that I missed out on some of the most amazing cleanses. And I would sit there, and a few of those times I had my menstrual cycle, and I was so grateful to have an excuse to not be like, why aren't you coming in? But I was never able to just feel free enough and okay enough within myself to be able to just take off my clothes and go through a swim in a space where there is zero judgment, because we're all sharing our deepest wounds, our life stories. There is no judgment. There is only listening with the ears of our heart. And I never allowed myself to do that. So the fact that I had done that after, 10 months after the program, the journey had finished, just go to show in the healing never just ends. Like it's a constant journey. My breast, I believe it'll be my part of my body story for the rest of my life, something that I have to work through in every moment. I'm now not with my husband. There will come a time where I will get into another relationship, and I'm hoping it's not another 7 months. I'm hoping I can do enough self-love, inner dialogue, talk with myself I walk around my home naked in front of my children, anywhere around my house. There's no shame in my body. So I always come back to, why am I so then shame and fearful around showing my body in front of other people? Am I worried what they will think? So it's always, I'm very aware of my body story and how it shows up within every aspect of my life, but it's a constant, I'm working through it daily.
Gosh, even the journey with those women that you're in and sitting on the sidelines when they were swimming and saying, thank goodness. And that process for you, even the timing was just right. And you said, yes, it was the Scorpio full moon. You've done the photo shoot, going thinking you were not going to participate, then to doing it. Like that's just that radical self-acceptance and choosing that just the timing was right.
Yeah.
Now or never. Because if you hadn't have done that, we'd be having a very different conversation right
Yeah,
now.
we would, absolutely, absolutely. And I will always push myself now because, and I say this to everyone, and I've been having this conversation with my daughters because my 5-year-old suddenly really cares about her hair. And actually, both my daughters are going through very how they look moments, and it's driving me a little bit crazy. But I say to them, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It
Yeah.
only matters what we think of ourselves, because we are the most important person and our thoughts matter, not because of what someone else thinks. And I hear myself and I know all these things, but when it comes to crunch time, it's really pulling on that to then allow that to come through. So I'm so hopeful that I continue working on this body story,
Yeah.
and that I don't allow anyone else's thoughts or even the possibility of what they're going to think stop me from feeling that liberated, free woman again, because I know what it feels like. I know what
Yeah.
it feels like to be on the land, completely naked, surrounded by women, which is what we've been doing for centuries.
Yes.
I know what that feels like, and I hope that I will be brave enough to do it again, but there'll be a lot of fear that then comes with that because I'm 35 soon. I've been dealing with this since I was 9. Like it's a huge part of my life and my life story.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it goes to show that is what women have done, eons before us and women in circle. But we've got so far from this. We are so far removed from this as we sit right now in this day and age, I'm sure women listening right now are identifying and saying, well, it's not my boobs, it's my legs, or it's my arms. Or I don't believe there's a woman listening to this. It'll be a small amount that are saying, no, I'm totally cool with every part of my body. Everyone has got that little something that they want to hide or they want to. Yours is quite significant though, the breast, that's quite a significant, but I'm sure that there is a lot of women, and we hear it in women's languages all the time. Don't show your arms, don't show your knees, my legs are this, we've all got these stories running, and we are so disconnected because no one is seeing each other naked anymore. No one, and there is nothing sexual about this. This is just woman to woman
Yeah.
supporting each other, knowing seeing each other naked anymore. No one's sitting in circle and seeing the realness. And I love the saying, it's just a body. I'm trying to get to this place of, practicing neutrality. And I said this the other day in one of it, like, it's like no different for me when I start this story with myself, exactly like you were picking on my body, my legs are chubby, this, that, the whole, when all that business starts, going, Emma, it's just a body, as if I'm looking at a car, that's a car, this is a body. There's no description to that car. It's a car. This is a body. Just trying to say it, and cars come in all different shapes and sizes, as do bodies. It's a
Yeah,
body.
that's
And
right.
trying to just lessen that attachment to it, because that's the thing, we become so attached. I do have to ask though, so the question on my mind when you're talking, did you ever consider breast surgery? I mean, we live in a world where we are surrounded by lots of women who have had breast implants, all the work.
All the
Did
things.
you ever consider that?
No, funnily enough, I'm being very honest here. It's something I have never considered. I would never get implants ever. And now, like, as we've gone on and we hear so much, implants I don't need implants anyway. Um, until in the last year, I have thought about a lift. I have thought about a lift in the last year. Up until then, no. I mean, I started having babies at 20. My son's only 3. So in between all of that, it's never been a thing, nor have I felt like I needed it because I was with my husband who loved my breasts. Like, so it wasn't a thing. So I have in the last year thought about a lift, but I don't know if I could do that because I pride myself on being a natural woman. Like, I love the way I look. I really do. When I've got a bra on, like, I could wear sexy lingerie out onto the street. Like, it's just that bareness. And I think that has come from the years of, like, for so long, we've only really started to see plus size models and models with different size breasts and body shapes in the last few years.
Yeah.
Yet the years that I grew up, I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all. So it's this idea of, and if if I'm just thinking now what's coming, if you ever go back and look at any of the sex scenes that take place, no one's got saggy boobs.
Nope.
Like, it's not out there. So for me to have grown up, my breasts are the only ones like that I've ever seen. So you start to be like, well, I am different.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not normal. So I have thought about it, getting a lift. I don't know if I would do that. It's not something I would do whilst I still have little children because I know, but I don't know if yeah, it's one of those things, I'm not sure. But I love going to psychics and mediums. I'm very spiritually based, so I just love all the guidance and wisdom that comes from that. But something very interesting happened last year, last May. I saw a psychic, phenomenal healer, and she was telling me about my eldest daughter who will move overseas and work in the concrete jungle and all of the things, but she will have breast implants. She will go through the surgery. She'll have to get an reduction. What's when they get them out? She'll have to get her implants taken out. And her major healing in this life is to do with her breasts. And I am so aware from my time in the Four Seasons journey and the School of Shamanic Womancraft, what we don't heal goes through our lineage.
Oh,
So to hear that my eldest daughter is going to go through this not feeling worthy enough around her breast, needing implants, then getting breast implant illness, to then have to go through a whole getting rid of them and healing process on her breast, it's very interesting to me that, potentially because it might not be something I completely heal in this lifetime, that it will go on to her, and then she's going to have to do it and solve that and heal that before it goes on to her daughter and then her daughter. So it's very interesting, and we all have our own paths, and that might not be the way, but hearing that, knowing the healing that I am doing and still have to do, but the fact that my daughter's going to go through something very similar of feeling not worthy within her breast, it was a little sad to hear,
yeah,
especially because as far as my daughters are concerned, I love my body wholeheartedly. Like
yeah,
my boob, I'm never walking around the house from shower covering them, like they're out. I'm just mum who loves her body, will dance like naked if we're running out, like fun, like just
yeah.
it's like it's a naked household. So to
Mm.
hear that part from a psychic around my daughter, that the potentiality of that was really upsetting, because my daughters, I've never once looked in a mirror and went, oh, 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 like
Yeah,
I love my body as far as, well, I do love my body, but as far as my daughters are concerned, I don't have any issues.
yeah.
So
It's yeah, and I guess it's a different path because if I think about, I'm thinking about someone in my life that I know that did have breast implants. And that was her path to healing because she felt so inadequate around her body. And in her way, that was her path to healing. And here's the thing, isn't it? Everyone has a different journey around this, good or bad, hard to say. We don't know what's wrong or right. All we can do is honor our path and keep working through ours. And for you, it was a very long journey of watching women swim in the creek to you then actually getting to a place where you were actually even able to. So it is a healing path around our bodies, and it's being brave enough to choose your path of healing. And it is deeply personal, isn't it?
it really is. And it's so deeply unique to every single one of us. Like we're
Yeah.
all going through something, and around our bodies in particular, that we have to then overcome and heal in order to like be that version, to grow, to evolve. We all came here for that one reason, to try and be the highest version of ourselves and move along and learn all these life lessons. Sometimes I think I'm very fearful of anesthetic and surgery and cutting and all the things. So there's a part of my mind that now goes, but is that the obstacle you have to overcome here? Is
Yeah.
because for me, like the thought of having a lift and being able to walk the beach naked, and like from someone who's had huge boobs her whole life, I can't, you see all those beautiful dresses with no backs. Like I would love to wear beautiful little tiny little straps out and not have to worry about a bra or the big thick straps. So it's like, is that, sometimes I go, is that my healing, by saying yes and actually doing something that I know would truly make me happy, because I love my body. There's no issue except my breast in front of other people, which will always be like uncovering to do with that. But then is that where I heal that from saying yes to something else that scares me megally, and actually finally having the breast that I've always desired to have, because I can choose that, to
Mhm.
then be free and healed in some way. So there's all these webs that sort of come down that can all link up to healing, and it's so unique to you on how you can get there. And I'll always be a natural advocate, because our bodies are incredible and we chose to come into this vessel, but we also have to be open to everything that's happening and everything we're feeling, to continue to do the work on it, because it could be leading us to exactly where we're meant to be, to the person we want to be, that we're meant to be here in this
Yeah.
body being.
Yeah, that's it, right. Because at the end of the day, it's between you and you.
Yeah.
And whatever that path is, even if it, let's say it is the path of breast implants in and breast implants out, that might be the path.
Yeah.
It's, we are not here to try and be perfect. It's about an experience,
Yes.
and it's about us taking our own healing in to our hands and living through that. It
Yeah.
is such an interesting topic around our relationship with our body and how each one of us has that thing. And maybe it is surgery, maybe it isn't. Maybe it is doing more of this deeper work with women that you will always do. Maybe there's some more unraveling of that.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. And
I
because
think,
yes, sorry, go.
but I just think what's so important here, as I reflect on all my friends who won't go anywhere without a spray tan, or I know there is women that Botox is their thing. I think what's really important here is really making the time to connect back with yourself in stillness and drop the expectation of what society thinks we should look like. But how do you want to look? How do you want to feel? And what feels right in here?
Yeah.
Because that's how we get to know ourselves. That's how we get those answers that we're seeking, that we're actually out externally trying to find validation and answers, but it's returning into here and sitting with ourselves that those answers and questions will come. Mm,
Yes. Because I love the saying, just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean you have to.
yeah, absolutely.
And you're exactly right. Whatever that, it's actually coming back. And you're right. You're absolutely right. This is not about what everyone else is doing. It's is does this sit okay with you? Are
Yeah.
you okay to do that? And even the spirit of inquiry, what does it mean if I didn't do that? Who am I if I didn't do that? Who am I if I do that? What is the what is it that I feel I need to be, or how I feel I need to be showing up?
And also allow yourself the time and the space to try on new versions of yourself. So, for example, the whole year that I was with the School of Shamanic Womancraft, I didn't shave my underarms. I didn't wear makeup anywhere. I was this bare, natural goddess of a woman, and I sat with that and I was so happy being her for over 12 months. And then other opportunities came my way and I started putting on some makeup again and actually realizing, hang on, I love to look beautiful through a nice bright lipstick and some natural blush on my face and my hair blow dried. And you know what? It does feel really nice and clean and fresh to shave my underarms and shave my legs. But I allowed myself to sit in for 14 months of armpits that I didn't shave, legs that I think I went 5 months without shaving my legs and not a drop of makeup, and going out to events, no makeup. Nicer, like my nice clothes, but no makeup. And I allowed myself to sit with that version. And for that year and a bit, that was great. That's exactly what I needed as I stripped back my life into learning around low tox and what we're putting on our bodies and in our bodies. I needed to be that version. But now I've done that, I've experienced that. But now, as I put on my makeup in the morning and get dressed and blow dry my hair, I feel fabulous because it's my choice.
Yes.
It's not what someone's expecting of me. I went to big events with no makeup, wearing clothes, and people would say, my family and closer friends, why don't you have makeup on? Why don't you do this? Why do I have to? I don't have to. So it's
Yeah.
about, like, again, like really sitting with self because you've got every answer you need within you. And do you actually want all the things that you're getting? Do you want to be putting on fake tan? Do you want to be wearing clothes like that? Or is it what you think you need to be doing and wearing? So it's always like coming back to yourself will always be my biggest advice for women, healing any aspect of themselves, but
Mm.
sitting and being with a version of you that you think you might like to be, because there's that calling there, and allowing yourself the time, space, and compassion to be whoever you want.
Mm. My word this year is courage. And when you were speaking through that, then the thought of going to an event with no makeup, see, things are coming up in me right now, right? I am a lover of makeup, and some part of me would feel it's literally the mask. Could I show up barefaced? Yeah, that's a deep question. And I love how you've said try a different version of yourself, and that you sat in that with
Yeah.
hairy armpits and hairy legs and just tried it on for over a year. I mean,
Yeah.
that's brilliant. That's courage, though,
Well, and I think
to me.
yeah, absolutely. And there's so many women I know that do get around no makeup, hairy armpits, hairy legs. But I think we have to remember something here.
Yeah.
We have hairy arms for a reason.
Yeah.
Have like hair on our legs, hair on our like our vulva area for a reason. They're all doing things. We go back hundreds and hundreds of years ago. There was no thing as razors. The women were walking around, no shoes, feet on the earth, hairy. Like there's actually nothing wrong with it. If we weren't meant to have it, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
there.
Wouldn't be there. Yeah.
Oh, I just think like coming back to that and not allowing, like I'm still, my daughter's 10. We're going to be, I can sense, I was 10 when I got my period. So it's coming and I can sense it's coming for her. But when she comes to me and has that conversation of, I want to shave my legs or my arms or even go further, because I think
Yeah.
by 11 or 12, I was shaving my area. I know a few 12-year-old girls that are doing that now already. And I just really want to have that conversation that if you're doing it because you really want to, then this is your choice, it's your body.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it because you've heard everyone else doing it, I really want you to sit with that, because I actually never forget. It's a little bit of a vulnerable share, but I remember I was very young, hadn't started shaving yet, and I was kissing a boy, and this boy's hands ended up going down my pants, but I hadn't shaved by this age. And I'll never forget the look on his face when his hand had touched hair. And again, that was an instant, oh, I'm not meant to have hair down there. Because he'd obviously, and see, this is just how it goes through these tiny little experiences that we have of someone else signaling to us that what's happening within our own body is not right, but it's actually fine. It's right if it's right by us. But it was actually that night I went home and shaved, because I never wanted to see the look that boy, a boy, gave me. And that just signaled to me that he'd obviously been doing that with other girls, and that's not what other girls have going on down there. So it's just, we could go for so long with this, and there's so
Yes.
many, but I just coming back to you and not changing who you are for anyone, and only do it for yourself if it's true to yourself.
Yes. Yeah. That's the message here, isn't it? Coming back home and getting quiet, and this is the whole theme of building a better relationship with your body. And this is one way that we do it, is exactly like you said. I mean, go and get naked with a group of women around a fire, shout, release, let go, and heal.
Yeah.
And this is part of the process if that's your thing. But there is some gold in that, without a doubt.
Yeah,
Without a doubt.
it really is.
Thank you. Thank you, Peta-Lea, for your absolute vulnerability and beautiful share today. And your body story is, I'm sure lots of women are going to identify or connect. If it's not their breasts, it'll be their legs, their arms, it'll be something, because we're all on some level, because exactly like you said, we have only been shown one sort of woman. And you're 35, I'm 49. Even it saddens me to think that we've got this age gap, but you and I have both only ever been shown one kind of woman. And like you said, it's only just now that we are starting to see inclusivity, and we are starting to see some other body shapes. But even I will say about that, only if you have curated your algorithm for that.
Yeah, that's right though.
Yeah, because a lot of people are still not seeing inclusivity or bigger bodies, because their algorithm has got them on the green juice and I call it soft porn, our fitness gorgeous influencers and these gorgeous yogis and whatever else. We potentially have got a feed of curated beautiful bodies. So I guess that's a parting message. Start to get a little bit of diversity in your algorithm. It
Absolutely.
is, and it can be confronting because I know we have so been trained to see such a curated body. And now with AI, it's even trickier because the amount of filters and tune up apps and all of this jazz, what we're seeing isn't even true anyway. So, in some ways, yes, we've got the inclusivity, but in other ways, I feel like there's a bit of a regression around body acceptance too. I think we're in this interesting time of being unconscious and conscious around bodies. So, but we'll have to discuss that another time. So, Peta-Lea, where can we find you?
Oh, thank you, Emma. You can find me on Instagram mainly at Peta-Lea Brenda and at the Woman Empire Project. So I'm very much on Instagram every day. I love Instagram. The Woman Empire Project's podcast, we drop 2 episodes a week, Mondays and Fridays, and they're very mindset, belief, intention, energy, and spirituality based. And every episode, I like to ask you questions. So you've got that deeper awareness of self. So there's some really powerful episodes on there. If you're just looking for a bit of self-inquiry to learn who you are on a deeper level, I have my website, petaleabrenda.com, and I have an offering that is going to be coming out in early April, and it's a 4-week program that deepens into mindset, spirituality, energetics. I believe everything is in mindset. Like once we master our mindset, we can master our life. So we go deep on values and manifestation, energetics, and how you can come out of that 4 weeks, totally new version of you, absolutely thriving and loving your life. So those details will be dropping on my Instagram in March for an early April launch.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Peter-Lee. As always, I absolutely love our conversation. You are so raw, real, and open. And I can see that working with women, they just have so many beautiful benefits because you just bring it. You bring it all.
Oh, thank you so much, Emma. I've loved today.
Thanks, beautiful. And for all of our listeners, you'll be able to in the show notes will be all of the links to Peta-Lea, so you'll be able to find her on all of her platforms. And yes, this will all of our beautiful ladies will be listening to this in the first week of April. So your program starts in the beginning of April. So I'm sure that they'll all be able to jump on and catch that. So just reach out to Peta-Lea if you are ready to jump on board with her. Thank
Mm.
you, dear friend. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Emma. Thank you.